Hello, dear kids. The story for today is called How the Postosuchus Earned on a Motorbike. Once upon a time, there lived a Postosuchus, and his name was Stan, who went to work in a foundry every day. When he walked there in the morning and back in the evening, he passed the motorcycle shop, and each time he looked fondly in the window at the exhibits on display. Oh yeah, it would be nice if I could save up for a motorcycle, but it will take some time. I wish I could figure out a way to get the scumbag a little faster. And so it went day after day. And you see our hero, Postosuchus, Stan. Only once, before going to bed, did Stan lose a tooth. He didn't want to get out of bed anymore, so he just slipped it under the pillow and fell asleep right away. What was his surprise when he made his bed in the morning and found a coin under the pillow. He immediately remembered the tooth, and it was clear to him that the rumor about the tooth fairy was true. He had to think about it all day, and when he returned in the evening from the foundry, where he really wasn't Employee of the Month that day, a plan was already generating in him. But that plan needed a helper. His neighbor, Mr. Ankylosaur, was hanging out in the garden in the evening, and when Stan greeted him over the fence he was, as usual, thinking something about a... After all, Mr. Ankylosaur was a bit of a racist, because, as you dear children know, Postosuchus is not a dinosaur, but an ordinary lizard, the predecessor of today's crocodile. Good evening, neighbor. It's nice today, you see, began the Postosuchus in a detour. Well, yeah, sure, yeah. The ankylosaur was talking. Mr. Neighbor, you know I would need such a help from you, but it's a strange thing. Well, I'm curious, thought Anki, but before he could even think about it, he already found out. I'd like you to knock all my teeth, if you don't mind. With that tail of yours, it will be one too. Well, the neighbor didn't quite accept this and asked, well, I guess I could, but what makes you do that? But you know, it's a bet. The Stan didn't want to reveal his plan. And if you want, I can give you a bottle of quality plum brandy, he offered. But I'll be happy to do that for you, the neighbor offered a bit mischievously, because teeth gritting was one of his biggest hobbies. But don't grin too much with you, so I don't break your jaw or something. And you see, Mr. Ankylosaur, his tail is powered with such a hammer or something. We will see how efficient it will be. Well, dear children, it wasn't a pretty sight, but Stan held on bravely. He roared in pain, but still mumbled thanks to his neighbor as he picked up his bloody teeth from the ground. He put them in a colander several times and rinsed them in a sink so that they were not so bloody for the tooth fairy. Even so, some were bruised, broken, and there were still a lot of roots and other pieces left in his mouth. So he pulled them out in front of the mirror with pliers, which broke him a lot of blood for his joy. Then he found the foundry to say he was taking a few days off due to indisposition, and turned the brandy that the neighbor didn't even take into himself. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have slept that day. The Tooth Fairy, who flew in a moment later, was wafted by the rich scent of liqueur, but because she was used to many things from her profession, she routinely reached under the pillow and was surprised. "That's not possible! He is crazy! He is insane!" Well, in any case, service is service, and the lovely fairy had no choice but to fly back and forth several times to deal with this client. However, since some of the teeth were broken or bloody, she definitely did not give Stan a full tax. And you see the lovely fairy with one of the teeth that was very nice and clean. When the Postosuchus woke up here in the morning, the first thing he did was to finish what was left in the bottle at the bottom and start rummaging under the pillow. He was blessed with coins, so he calculated that it was enough for him not only for a motorcycle, but also for a helmet and a good ration of fuel. What was worse, he almost couldn't eat without teeth, but that didn't bother him so much. For one thing, he didn't have much to eat at home anyway, and he also thought that he would at least fit into a bathing suit a little. Where, dear children, Stan overcome all the challenges. His teeth grew, he lost weight, he raced around on a motorcycle, made friends with a neighbor, and after some time he even became a foreman in a foundry. But don't ask me, dear children, what the fairies do with those teeth. And that's the end of the story for today. Don't forget to subscribe and see you soon during some another story. Goodbye.